All right, all right. Well, welcome everyone. This is our Thursday morning production call. We got a great one. First of the year, January. We are in week one. Man, if y'all weren't on the huddle this morning with Danelle and David, y'all missed a good one. Just we want to follow that up with just having a great production year, right? I can't say this enough. If y'all have heard me say this, I'm telling y'all, there couldn't be a better place or a better time to be at Symmetry right now with what's going on between leads, with what's possible as a producer. So I'm gonna give y'all just a little bit of information of what I've seen here over the past couple of years, what's possible, and then gonna give y'all some really good tips of how to make sure y'all set up a great production run. Because January, there is no better time to set yourself up. But I want to remind everyone of just the possibilities first, right? Again, if y'all haven't heard, when I started at Symmetry, it was 2018, and we were still driving to people's homes. I want y'all to realize that we were driving to people's homes. I love saying that because, like me and Rodney will say something, and Rodney like, I wouldn't have done that, right? Like, there's just so many of y'all that would not be here if Symmetry hadn't been adapting to what was going on, right? And I just want to go through some of the lessons Symmetry has learned and why and what's possible here production wide, right? And so again, my first full year, I think I wrote like 380 grand in production, but I put 86,000 miles on my car. 86,000 miles. Also two sets of tires. It was a lot of driving, right? And it was paper applications. It was not instant approval. For us, instant approval back in the day was 7 days. I think it was Term Life Express from Mutual of Omaha. They were the first ones. Remember, Steve? They're the first ones that came out with instant issue. And we're like, ooh, sweet. But instant issue for them was you submitted it, and in like 5 to 7 days, you would get an answer that it was approved. That was instant issue business back then, right? And everything else was a week or two. It was AMAM. In case y'all don't know, AMAM required a phone interview for every single application you submitted with them. So when we were sitting with the client, I'd get them to say yes. I'd fill out their application, and then we had to do a phone interview as well, right there and then in the home. We'd get on the phone, we'd do a three-way call. It was the worst. We would prep them. Don't say anything else. Just answer the question with a yes or a no and keep it super simple. Do you understand? And they'd say, yes, Don. And then all of a sudden, I don't know why they would get nervous on the middle of the phone call. And they'd be like, yeah, but I think the doctor also may have said that. And just because they said may have or they thought, it would make the underwriter have to initiate other protocols. And it would ruin the sale. It was hilarious. It was like the craziest way to do business, but we did it, right? And we still made a ton of income. What I love about now is with the dialers, with the leads that are going on right now, you get leads, right? Like I love David and Danelle's run just now. There is no faster lead than a call-in lead. A call-in lead, they literally they bought their home, they got this form in the mail, they called it in, they entered an ID number and went through the full phone prompts, and it gets dumped into your system within seconds of them hanging up. There is no hotter lead out there in America. I'm telling you, there is nothing hotter or faster out there than a lead like that. And then we get to call them and book a Zoom appointment for today. We get to have them show up with their spouse. We get to help them with an application that gets instantly approved in like 7 to 10 minutes. And it says, yes, they're approved. It'll draft out of their account. It emails them a policy, and you're paid your commission if it's early enough in the day, tomorrow or within 72 hours, depending on the carrier. Like, where can you go? Right? Like over this past week, we're in week one of January, and I saw folks write $4,000 or $5,000 in a day. That means by already now, it's the first of the year, and they've already received $3,000 to $4,000 in deposits. Like it is insane. And what I want to talk about today, right, is I just want to expand everybody's mind, right? Like one of the biggest things is, and me and James were talking right now, and it kind of inspired, right? Like what we really want to put in front of y'all. Okay. 2024 was great, right? It was okay for some of us. It was not what we wanted for a lot of us, right? And what I want y'all to write this down, please. Okay. I'm gonna wait. Everybody get a pen and paper. I want y'all to write this down. Okay. If you do not want what happened last year to happen this year, right? So write this down. I do not want what happened last year this year. I have to do something different this year. And this is week 1, month 1 of January of 2025. You cannot go into this year with the same lead order, with the same schedule. Something has to change. Y'all have to understand that, right? And what I love about, you know why it's my favorite part of the year? Because there's a whole bunch of New Year's resolutions. And I love it because it always reminds me of the gym stuff, right? And I think it even catches a bad name, right? Like a lot of folks are like, hey, it's business. I'm not going to do a New Year's resolution because right, it's bad, right? It's bad karma, or if I do it right, then I'm not going to stick to it. I'm the opposite. Like I love it because guess what? The definition for going to go find some success is just you just got to get started, right? Don't sit there and try to make a perfect plan of, well, I can't start my new year because I don't have the money to start the lead investment that I want. I don't have the schedule because of my kids, because of right my other job, because of all these excuses. So I can't start a perfect schedule. So I'm not going to start it yet. Guess what? It's never going to be a perfect schedule. It's never going to be the right income. It's never going to be the right lead budget. That's the whole point of this. This is being a business. And you have to remember that this is not a job. This is a business. Quit right now if you think you got to wake up and just start dialing and check in with your upline and say, hey, I'm working right now. We don't care, right? Like you got to understand, not because we don't love you, it's just not our responsibility to make you work. Our responsibility as your upline and as a leader is to help you achieve your goal, right? If you don't have a goal, I don't have a job. I want y'all to think about that. If you don't have a goal, your upline doesn't have a job. What are they supposed to help you with? What are they supposed to help coach you on? If you don't have a goal, right? And again, I want to keep it super simple. I don't need you to go write out this business plan that's 13,000 pages long because I got a couple of y'all that are like that. Y'all will go create some spreadsheets. Y'all will go create some PDFs and some Word documents with all this elaborate work of what I'm going to do. Look, it's super simple. I posted it in Band earlier today, and I want y'all to just kind of copy that. Okay. My January goal in production. What is your promotion raise goal? Write that down. You need to have it, right? If you're an 80, here's the beauty about it. Symmetry already did it, so we just got to be great copycats. You just got to know what it is. And if you don't have this printed out on your desk, right, you should. But here, slingshot, right? Here's your business goal for the next 3 months if you're at an 80% contract. Okay? You want to have a yearly goal? The promotion raise is already set up for us because you can set this up every 2 months. You can qualify for a raise. This is your business goal. You just need to know where you're at, right? What commission level are you at? What month are you on? Because some of y'all may be halfway through it because if you did great in December, which several of y'all did, you're already in month 2 of your next raise. You just got to know it. Right? So now that I have my promotion for my raise, my commission raise goal, then what is your promotion goal? Because there's 2 things we shoot for here at Symmetry, right? Because the next one is, are you shooting to be a team leader? Are you shooting to be a top producer? right? Are you shooting to be whatever it may be, elite producer? That's your right levels of leadership. You have to have a business plan. No business in America runs without a business plan. They can't even operate, right? Most folks, you won't get a loan, right? If you're going to go start a business because they want to see your business plan, they won't even let you start without a business plan. Luckily here, as insurance agents, we all started our business, got our insurance license, right? And we got to get going. But now let's have a business plan in place. You got to know, right? If you're going for a top producer, a lead producer, hey, there's even a new agent. If you're brand new, your first goal, your first mission is to write your first application. Symmetry makes it super easy, and your goals are already here. Again, you just got to know where you fall, right? Where am I at right now? And so that I can achieve this. And I'm going to give you all some really cool numbers. And again, what I love about them is they're live numbers. These are numbers that we have done over the past year in our organizations, right? So we know they're very, very achievable. Okay. I just want y'all to know your business plan, right? So we're in January, week 1. What is your SLO? So write that down. What is my SLO? And if you don't know what an SLO is, what's my standing lead order? You got to have every business has inventory come in, whether it's a service, whether it's whatever it may be, right? You have to have inventory. So what is your standing lead order? It has to be either bonus leads or A leads or a mixture of both, but you got to have a like make the commitment to your business to have a standing lead order. Okay. That's inventory every single week coming into your business so that you can go find success. Okay. Now here's the thing. If you don't like the way December panned out, November or October, you need to change something in your standing lead order. Okay. If y'all saw, I changed my lead order because I still wasn't happy with the results that I was getting 2 weeks ago. You will always have to change something because business is always changing and your goals are always changing every month. Every month, my goal gets bigger. So I have to adjust my business settings, right? You have to make a different change. You can't expect or better yet, you will expect the same results if you do the same thing you did last month. That's the only thing I can promise you, right? But no business will grow without more either inventory, investment, or activity. No business will grow. So y'all have to take advantage of the New Year's. Again, I love it because it's like, it's January. I want to change. I want to take advantage of right there. I'm going to start going to the gym. Take advantage of that momentum that you have, right? That's around us everywhere right now, and make the commitment of, hey, I'm going to increase my lead investment. Now, here's the big lesson. Do not do that by yourself. Okay. Again, your upline can't help you if they don't know your goals. So, hey, if I'm Cody and it's like, hey, I want to increase my lead investment, it is not going into Opt or HQ and changing it by yourself. It's a phone call to my upline. Hey, Jeffrey, this is my goal. This is how I want to achieve it. How does this look? And then we get to help you say, hey, you know what? I would do this based on your numbers. I think this is where even David and Danelle made a phone call to several of us before they changed their lead investment and say, hey, this is our business plan. And most of the time, you're right, but you need it. Again, y'all got to get it confirmed, right, with an upline. Let somebody else help you. Do not do this by yourself. There's too many of us in Symmetry, right, for you to go figure this out by yourself. There's too many people making tons of deposits for you to have to go figure this out by yourself. And we just finished the book, Ego, right, is the enemy. If you're not asking for help, I promise you it's your ego. Not a prideful ego, right? Everyone thinks the ego is I'm the best and right, that person's being a you know what. No, it's the I don't like my result ego. So I'm embarrassed to ask for help. Or if I don't ask for help and I don't achieve the goal that I wanted, they'll never know and I don't have to worry about looking bad. That's the ego that hurts. That's the ego that costs you a lot of success, right? In production, that's the ego that has to go away, right? What I suggest is go and finding a running buddy. Find somebody a little bit better than you, and you need to friend them in production. Again, there's no reason why. Look, a year ago, James and Tickle became best friends in productions. They became running buddies. They both achieved $30,000 months. Amber said, "Hey, I want a piece of that pie." She friended James and Tickle, and now she's doing $30,000 months. It's not magic, right? Like, we give y'all the tools so that y'all can win. Don't figure this out by yourself. Everyone that's a 30K producer right now wants more 30K producers. We want to help you. 15K producers want more 15K producers. Go friend them. Like, there is no reason why you have to figure this out by yourself, right? And in every organization, right, inside of our cook hierarchy, right, I highly suggest you stay in there, right? But go find a friend. Go find, right? If you're a female, go find a female, right? If you're young, go find somebody young, right? Go find someone that you can relate with, that you can have a really good relationship so that you can go figure this out together, right? Just the caution tale is, don't find someone that's not producing like you're producing. That's not the person you need a friend, right? Because guess what? If they're not producing, if you're doing 10 and they're doing 5,000 a month, guess what's going to happen to your production? I promise you. Okay, it's go up. You have to find a higher level, right? So that we can help you win. Don't try to figure this out by yourself, right? So increasing your lead investment, highly, it's just needed, right? It's not even suggested. You have to have it. You have to base it off of that. Then it's your activity, right? Whatever my income that I want to have, I need to make sure I increase my investment, but then I have to increase my activity. And I want to break down activity because Danelle and David just gave us a really great reminder of activities not work in numbers. Activities work in results, right? Like, a lot of us, right? If y'all been on our 200 dial rampage, right? Now our lesson, if y'all have heard us start shifting our conversation, right? I wanted to teach y'all how to dial 1,000 dials a week, and I know what it feels like now. That's great. Now we need to focus on results, right? Because Danelle, I think it was right. I don't think there was a week over 400 dials. It was like 300 and something.
Yeah.
I love that. Think about that. Not a week over 400 dials to produce 50,000 in production. Okay. But because they were focused on the activity of results. And so, does everyone know in the chat, right? Let's make this a little interactive. What's the result that they were looking for when it came to dials, right? Yes, you were looking to dial, but what was the result that you are looking to do? What are you trying to accomplish when you're dialing? 15 sits. That's the goal as a full-time producer. If you're looking to make, the number used to be like 120 to 150,000. I bet you right now it's like 150 to 200,000 in income if you sit with 15 plus a week. Like, it is insane because APV has gone up, right? So if now I know the activity that I'm looking for is 15 sits, right? How do I increase that number? And this is the lesson that I want to teach on this production call, right? So how do I accomplish 15? Because here's the really cool part. Every single one of y'all that has been dialing over the past 4 weeks, we have the number, or better yet, you have the number of dials it will take you to book and sit with that many folks. But only, here's the caveat, if you are tracking your numbers. And you have to have some kind of tracker. Okay, so this is the commitment I want y'all to make to yourself. So write this down. What tracker am I using for activity? You have to track this somewhere. You have to plug in these numbers into some kind of Excel spreadsheet. This is a business. Do not try to be like, well, right? Because if any of y'all have ever called me, y'all will laugh when I say this, right? If you call me and you say, hey, well, I dialed a whole bunch, Joe, it was like 200. I'm like, nope, I don't work off of a whole bunch, a lot, a few, some, most. Those are not business terms. Business numbers are, hey, I dialed 435 dials. I booked, right? Or I contacted 56 people. I booked 25 appointments. I sat with 10, four no showed me, seven rescheduled, right? Whatever that, those are business numbers. That's the only way we can coach you, or you can coach yourself. Because here's the really cool part: if you're tracking your numbers based on whatever you've done over the past couple of weeks, right? And I'm going to give y'all some really simple numbers. So if you dialed 500 dials last week and you booked 20 appointments and you sat with five of them, I now have, and you now have the tools to say, hey, how do I sit with 15 plus? Well, according to your numbers, if you dialed 500 and you sat with five at the end result, guess what? 1,500 dials gets you to 15 sits. Y'all have to know your numbers, right? And that's the really cool part. Some of y'all may be 6,000 dials, some of y'all may be, right, 800 dials, whatever that number, fall in love with it. And here's the really cool part: as you try to get there, your number, your activity starts to get smaller because you get better and your activity with the results gets higher. Now, here's the crazy part, and I know this is where I'm going to blow some of y'all's minds, okay? You could be doing the exact same thing every single week and just not tracking it. You can be working harder every single week. Be like, man, I'm Danelle, I'm plugging into the calls, I'm calling my upline, I'm listening to SoundCloud audios, but you're not tracking your numbers. It's insane how you will work so much harder and never get the better results. And it's simply because it's crazy. Y'all are going to hate me. It's simply, I promise you, because you're not tracking it. I know that sounds crazy, but I'm just telling y'all 6.5 years of experience. It's simply because you can't see it. Where did we hear that from? You were on today's call. If you can't see it, you can't believe it. But when you look at your numbers and on your trackers, you're like, hey, look, this tracker says if I just simply go from here to here, I get there. It's amazing of how all of a sudden you start increasing your wins and goals, right? It comes back to simple business. You got to have a business plan. You got to be able to track your business. You have to want to get better at your business, right? But again, are you matching it with tracking all your numbers, right? This is where it's a brand new year. Embrace, right? Like, hey, I want to increase my lead investment a little bit. I want to increase my results a little bit, but you got to have it on paper somewhere, right? Like you have to be able to, and I say paper, right? I mean digital, right? Everyone uses spreadsheets, right? You got to have it somewhere. Get with your agency owner and say, hey, what tracker or spreadsheet do you suggest that I can fill out that'll help me accomplish this? And then you have to treat this like a business and work on it. That means you don't just plug in your numbers every day and you exit out of the sheet, right? Because we got several of y'all. In fact, we got a lot of y'all on trackers. How many of y'all have ever just stared at it for 30 minutes just to analyze your business? I bet you very few. If you have a tracker, this is what you're not supposed to do. And again, I'm talking to myself right 4 years ago. If you're on a tracker, you should not open that puppy up 10 minutes before your call that's going to review your tracker, right? So before I used to, me and Chris Cook had a weekly call and he'd be like, hey, let's review your numbers because you want to grow your business, Joe. Let me tell you, I didn't grow for years because 5 minutes, Nathan, before that call is when I was filling it out. I was like, oh, let me see how many interviews did I do? How many dials did I make? And that was the only time I ever looked at that tracker.
And Joe, I think that's worth repeating again, is you're never going to be more emotional and just stressed out, feel like you're overworked. You get to the end of that long day and I have nothing to show for this. That's never going to happen more if you're not tracking your business. Because so many times we think we're going crazy. So many times we think, man, I put in all this work, and you look at your tracker and you say, well, based on the activity, I only actually work 4 hours a day. Or you've been sitting in the office for 12 and you're like, man, I
Oh,
didn't get
it kills
anything
me.
done.
It
Happens.
kills
You've
me.
got to use that tracker. It's just worth repeating again and again and again because it's so true.
I love David and Danelle. Y'all talked about this on the last production call with y'all, right? You felt like you even had more time off, more scheduled things to do during your run, and it was the best results you've ever had, right? And it's all because you had a plan. It's amazing, right? Because it's like, man, we've been working all year though, right? And there were some months that we were working really hard because we didn't like how our month was. What was the difference? They tracked it to no end. That was all. That's the only thing that really changed. It was tracked and there was a business plan in place. And holy cow, what happens? And Danelle, I mean, if y'all can give us some insights, right? Again, on just the planning and how amazing it is when you have a business plan and something to track, right? Like it made it so much easier. It's crazy. I hate it so much, actually.
I think it's interesting that you oftentimes, if you're not paying attention to your numbers, it's because you don't like them, right? Like you don't want to look at that side of the business. And that's almost when we really have to pay attention because I'm doing the same thing over and over and I'm not getting the results I want. So where is it broken and how do I fix it? Because I can't just keep doing this. We were on 30 CIs for months. I think it was like 30 or 35. And what's crazy is on our run, there were many, many times that I didn't get the 45 CIs filled. I only got like 38. You're telling me that it was like 3 or 4 difference of like not having a good month and having this crazy month, but it was our intention and paying attention to it all that made like the biggest difference. And I was staring at the tracker every day, like, where are we? What do we need? How many have we already sat with this week? What's the goal for tomorrow? I was really paying attention.
A lot of it comes to, like, I call it strawberry milk. If y'all haven't heard strawberry milk, right, I'm going to tell that story some other time. But strawberry milk is just the law of attraction, right? Like if you don't believe in it, I'm telling you, you need to start believing it. What happens with trackers and staring at your numbers and seeing it, I highly suggest you put aside at least 15 minutes a day to stare at your numbers, understand your numbers. Where can you see results? Where do you not, right? Because one of the biggest things is you identify where you shouldn't be putting activity, right? And when you start looking at those trackers, you're calling the law of attraction, right? Again, I call it strawberry milk. You can call it baby Jesus. You can call it whatever you want, right? Like you start attracting what you want because you're looking at your numbers and be like, hey, that's my goal, right? Because I'm staring at it every day, right? It goes, hey, I want this. If I want $10,000 in deposits, this is what I need to look at, right? If you don't have a business tracker, what are you supposed to look at? Just fake numbers in your head? Like you're relying on how many contacts you had and how many booked appointments and how many sits you had. Like you gotta, this is a real business. You have to look at it that way. It is insane. Here's one that's gonna, right? So the next level of law of attraction and trackers to high production, you need to have a deposit goal. So write that down. You need to have a deposit goal. How much are you looking to deposit this month? The cool part is you can reverse engineer it based on your commission level, right? Your sits, whatever, right? Whatever we're looking at, but you got to have a deposit goal. It is insane, right? I'm gonna go back and anyone that has like crossed the finish line of like 20,000 in production, please chime in. It's insane when we start mentoring them. I'm like, hey, just start telling yourself you're a top producer. And like, Joe, it just can't be that simple. I'm like, it kind of is, but sure, just start telling yourself you're a top producer. You start saying it enough, you start believing it enough, and all of a sudden it starts happening. And it's the same thing with income. I deposit $10,000 a month. I deposit $10,000 a month. How do you deposit, right? Because now you got to bring that to life, right? Show me on paper how you deposit 10,000. Don't just tell me, show me. I was talking to some of my agents earlier. One of the greatest things Chris Cook always did was, not in a bad way, kind of bring me down from the clouds, because I'm a big dreamer. I'm a pioneer connector. I'm like, I'm going to have a $6 million agent from day one. Chris, I'm going to be your biggest agency. I'm going to have a $6 million agency, and we're going to make so much money, and we're going to hire 10,000 people a year. And he's like, Joe, I love it. Can you show me on paper how you're going to make that happen? And let me tell you, my activity and investment did not align with my goal and vision. And y'all have to understand that. Does your activity and investment, because this is a business, so does your activity and investment align with your goal and vision? Because my problem, and this is still to this day, right? Because I'm a pioneer connector, my activity and investment very seldom aligns with my goal and vision, right? So what my mentor is really good at is saying, Joe, just show me on paper how you make that happen. And then it's like, okay, I have to invest more, and I have to do way more activity if I even think this is possible. Now, here's the really cool part is, as I increased those two things, a lot of luck started happening, right? I started finding bigger apps. I started finding annuities. I started finding better hires. I started finding a Jeffrey Miller, right? And it was luck, but it was through activity and investment, right? So is it really luck? Or are we just focused on activity investment that aligns with our goals and vision? And that's what I want to teach y'all today, right? So as 2025 starts, I want y'all to have a business plan. Go make your business plan. And here's the thing, I want you to go crazy. There is no reason right now why a personal producer, that means you individually, any one of y'all right now, is not depositing $20,000 a month in personal production. $20,000 a month. Danelle, just a rough estimate. What did y'all deposit in those 30 days after everything was said and done?
I think it ended up being around 35.
$35,000 in income on personal production. It's being done right now around us. I want y'all to dream big, because I'm telling y'all, there is no better place, there is no better system, and paid fast. It is crazy, right? So how do I accomplish these deposits? Okay, write this down. Now you need another tracker for deposits. And what I highly suggest is that tracker, right, has an expense tracker built into it, right? So basically your P&L, profit and loss, right? And keep it super, super simple. Don't overcomplicate it. You can make it in a very small spreadsheet, reach up to your uplines, right? If you're on our organization, we already have one. And I think every organization has one, but reach out to your agency owner. They probably already have a tracker that you can just fill in. And it's super simple. Daily deposits, daily investments, right? Of leads, right? If you're recruiting, whatever it may be, right? But you got to have it. Guess what? You're a business. Somebody please unmute and tell me of a business you know that doesn't have a tracker on their inventory and expenses, and then how much they make in deposits. Please tell me one business. I challenge anyone.
An unsuccessful one. I have been
Ooh,
I have been there. Didn't know anything about that when I had a jewelry business. I thought I was
That's good. That's good. She makes a good point. An unsuccessful business doesn't have that. We don't want unsuccessful businesses, right? Because it's not a business. It just isn't. There's no way you can let just your bank account fluctuate and you don't know why, where, when, right? Like, we know everything about our deposits, right? You got to track it. And the really cool part is, on that tracker, then you get to put, my goal is 20,000 in deposits, 10,000 in deposits. It is insane of how just having that in front of y'all and all of a sudden tracking, your deposits start to go through the roof. I promise you they do, because you're paying attention to it and you're looking at, hey, I just need one more app. And because you know you just need one more app that week, you all of a sudden get it. Law of attraction, baby Jesus, strawberry milk. I'm telling y'all, it works. whatever you want to call it. But if you're not tracking it, right? I love what you said, Danelle. Like, get out of your own way. I know you don't like your numbers right now. Guess what? Middle of last year, I didn't like my numbers where they were at. But I said, hey, so here, I'll be vulnerable. My goal last year was put $100,000 in my bank account aside from everything else. Me and Nate actually went on this little run. We did good like the first couple months, Nate. Right?
Something happened in March. I don't know what it was.
But we weren't really tracking it. And then came, I don't know what happened in March to like June. Like I was putting all this money into my bank account and then all of a sudden it was going away. And I was like, what? I don't understand. Like nothing's changed, right? Like it wasn't like I bought a brand new car and okay, I know where my money's going. I just wasn't able to do what I was trying to do. And I didn't like the results, right? But I didn't have a real tracker in place to say individually, I know where every single one of my dollars was going. I had a really good one, but not in detail. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna bite the bullet because I didn't want to do it. And now I have a tracker that is insane. I know how much each carrier is depositing. I can tell you every single month, every single week individually, every single day individually, what carrier is depositing money in my bank account, how much total, how much is expenses, how much in my house I have expenses. And it's insane. I couldn't stop that money tree from growing at this point, but because I know it. I highly suggest January right now, get a deposit tracker in place so that you know what's coming in, what's going out, because I want y'all to get angry because you're a business. Not every business is not always profitable. But then you have to get upset with your results and say, hey, next week is going to be a little bit different. Okay. There's still weeks right now that I'm not profitable, but at the end of the month, it becomes way profitable. Right. But because I know in week one, a lot of my expenses go out, my office, my home, my this and that. Right. And it's like, hey, maybe week one, I like to work a little bit harder because I don't want to be negative week one. And it's insane because I have that in front of me now, how my week one is now one of my most profitable weeks because I pay attention to it now. Right? Because I know, right? We got rent, we got car payments, at least of mine, right? My car insurance, a lot of my Symmetry stuff, my dialer, this or that, right? Whatever it may be, all comes out on the first. So now week 4 and 5, I'm always like, Danelle, I'm gonna push a little bit harder this week because I know I want more deposits for week 1 of January. And how all of a sudden week 1 of January, right? We're already at like $8,000 in deposits and almost every bill paid. But it's simply because we're tracking the business and production. Right. And that's the challenge I give to y'all, right? Like reach out again. I can't make y'all call us, but I promise you we have trackers already here. We just want to help y'all fill them out and treat this like a business. But what tracker do you have in place for deposits in production? Because you need to know that. Right. And then I'm gonna get a little detailed for y'all in making this a very profitable because a lot of y'all are recruiting and building a business. Okay. Write this challenge down because this is one that I give to all my leaders. Okay. Your override deposits. Okay. An override, in case you don't know what an override, if you're building a team, right? We brought on Nathan. Nathan brought on Demisha. Every time Demisha writes an application, I get paid. Every time Nathan writes a policy, I get paid. That's an override, right? We're paid the difference between your commission level and your agent's commission level. The insurance carriers pay us money. Okay. So if you're building a business on personal production, because again, it's not just teaching yourself how to produce, it's teaching your team how to produce. Your goal as a business, this is a great business goal for a new builder. Your override should pay for your entire business. Right? So my override should pay for my lead investment and my recruiting at bare minimum. Right? What does that look like? It should be about $5,000 to $10,000 a month in deposits. Those are great beginner goals. And listen to what I'm saying. Beginner goals at $5,000 to $10,000 in deposits and overrides, because that's a beginner level. I promise you. This gets crazy if you manage it and control it like a business. Right? Again, you got to track those numbers. Right? So we got like Amber. that says, hey, Joe, how do I get more profitable? Because this is getting fun. I go, hey, well, how much are you depositing in override? She goes, I don't know that. I'm like, great. Why don't we start tracking this so that your team overrides, right? Your business overrides can start paying for all your leads. Imagine you see some of our agents that are investing $4,000 a month in leads, right? $1,000 weeks in A leads. Imagine not having to pay that for your business. We have everyone on Spark, right? Paying $1,500, $2,000, whatever it is. Imagine not having to invest that in your business because you've grown it, right? You need 6,500 in case you're not counting. 6,500 and that'll pay for your lead investment, your recruiting, and your business is on a roll and you don't even have to worry about figuring that out. But the only way you grow that is you track it. Right? Now, here's the thing. A lot of us don't track it because it's little right now. And who cares? You got to, right? Little money grow. My brother laughs when I'm at a casino. Little money grows. I've tracked it when it was $50 a month. I've tracked it when it became $100 a month. I was super excited, Roger, when it became $500 a month. I was like, $500 in overrides. Like, this is cool. Like, that was my car payment back then. Right? And then it became 1,000. I'm like, hey, wait a minute. Like, this takes care of my recruiting. And then it became 1,500, and then it was 2,000, and then it was 3. And it's like, holy crap, I don't even have to invest in my leads anymore because my business is doing that in production. And so you're telling me, y'all are going to love this. You're telling me if I go help more agents learn how to produce, I can get paid more? Hence, what call are y'all on right now? This is where it was born. Because I was like, how can I help more of my agents together at the same time? This is the coolest business, and I want to expand your mind. So my challenge to y'all is, right, if you're recruiting and you're building a team, where is your team? So we started tracking stuff like, again, trackers. If you have a team, right? So here, I'll pick on Nate live. Nate, how many of your agents are on a production call? Do you know that number? Right? And as you grow that number, guess what grows? Your income, right? But that's the only way. It's insane. Trust me, I get frustrated just like y'all. I'm like, so you mean I got to track this too? Yep. But hey, tracking it is the only way it grows, right? Because look, there's 61 people on this call today. How many of those are y'all's? If y'all want to increase, right, the 5 to 10,000 in my business, that's the number you need to track. Right? And I share that with y'all because it's not just about you, right? It's about how many people you can help because we make income 2 different ways. It's off of your personal production and it's off of your, right, your team sales as well, right? And that only comes from helping your agents get highly profitable. Because the only thing that means to me is if my agents make more money, I make more money. So if I help my agent win, I get to win a little bit, right? Because my favorite term from Symmetry is I don't get paid a dime until you make $1. And that for me was the coolest things. Now it's become of how many agents can I help y'all find success so that we can get what we want out of this, right? And it's just helping y'all win. There is no cooler system, I promise y'all, right? Because if we're winning at a high level, that just means we've gotten really good at helping a whole bunch of y'all at a high level. But everyone just has to track your business. I can't help you, right? Help me help you. You need a tracker. I need to know what your dials are, what your contacts are, what your deposits are, right? And share what you want with your upline. It doesn't have to be, again, open everything, right? But the more they can see that it helps them more track it. Again, you are a business. What I'm teaching y'all today is track your numbers. Okay. You cannot increase your production unless you increase, right, your tracking. That is the true, that's the true place. If you don't have one, I'm telling you, today's day 2 of January. Don't go past today, right? Guess what? You only got 2 days to backfill, and you probably didn't work on the first, so it's empty. Okay, go get a tracker. You should have at bare minimum 2 trackers. Okay, your activity one, if you're on somebody's Engage, or if you just have a tracker of what your dials are, contacts, books, how many are sitting with, how many are rescheduling, right? And then the next one is your deposits and your expenditures. You've got to know if your business is profitable. We don't want you to be not profitable here. The last thing I want is an agent investing in leads and not finding success. I want you to reflect on that. If you are investing in leads and you're like, man, I'm not profitable, you need to do something about that. Okay. I can't do it for you. Your upline can't do it for you. You need to track your business and be like, hey, and then you have to, right? The ego's got to come out and say, hey, I'm not in a good place. Please help. Okay. I've had to do that many of times. I've had every thought y'all can possibly think of. I've called Chris Cook and say, Chris, I cannot produce and build at the same time. There's no way I can fit everything in my schedule. There's absolutely, how do you expect me to be on all these calls? Y'all have like 3 huddles and a cook call, and then there's a base shop call, then there's a national call. That it's impossible. There's just no way I can produce. I at this point host almost every single call. I am in every single call, and I still am in the top 5 of our entire agency in production. In case you don't know my personal life, I have 2 ex-wives, separate kids. So I got the 2 baby mama drama. I got to drop off kids, take them to school. They go to 4 different schools at this point. We got to pick them up, drop them off. I got to go make sure, right, that this weekend is hers, the next weekend is mine. I have the exact same problems y'all have. I still have an old 2005 Ford Excursion that dies on me sometimes, right? Because I choose not to invest in that, and I choose to. But guess what? That gives me, you can't give me your card and start. Right? Like I have every excuse, Paul. I have every excuse you could possibly think of too. And it does not stop because I track my business. I know my results, right? And I know what I need to do to win. And sometimes it's tough. Sometimes it's just damn hard, right? But I have to make sure I keep these things in front of me so that I can go win. Production is very simple. I'm telling y'all, it's only hard because you're making it hard. And I know you hate that term or you don't want to hear those words. I promise you, you're the only one making it hard. If you haven't, I'll have somebody find the production call where we did the 10 things, right? For the highest close rate. I think that's one of our best calls ever because as long as you're checking off those 10 boxes, you're going to have the highest close rate in production. And why I say you make it hard is because you just start not doing things on that. Right? You're not sending text reminders. You're not doing follow-ups. You're not calling your upline in your production. You're not increasing your lead investment, right? You're not doing the role and purpose, the other role and purpose. Again, if you don't know that, that's your fault. Go listen to that call, right? Like it's you not doing these things and you're making it hard. I promise you. There's too many agents at this point. Listen to my conviction with this statement. There are too many agents in Symmetry crushing it right now, depositing $50, $60, $100,000 on their own pin. And the really cool part is the folks that are doing that have the most excuses out of everyone. One of their kids is really sick, and that guy, if y'all haven't heard Dylan Crane's story, that's insane. He's working Hawaii leads at 1 or 2 in the morning so that he can figure out how to take his kid to the hospital. Ashley Richards last year deposited hundreds of thousands of dollars. She wrote $100,000 3 months in a row. She homeschools her 2 kids and she's a single mom. You can go do all kinds of stuff. You just got to be committed. Roger, I've been talking about you the past couple of days. I was in the Zoom room and I love Roger. He was like, Joe, it's only me and you in here. And I don't know why. He goes, everybody says they want to go win, but I don't see people in here. And that's the thing. Like, what are you doing? Right. And this is not calling everyone out. This is, does your investment, an investment is time, money, right? Activity is, are you getting the right results? Are you sitting with your 10 to 15, right? Does that align with your goal and vision? And again, if you don't have those written on paper, how are you supposed to align it? Right? That's the biggest thing. We want to help you align it, but if you don't have it on paper, how could I possibly, Brooke, how could I possibly coach you if you don't show me on paper how you want to accomplish your goal? I want y'all to think about that, right? Because you can make way too much money here at Symmetry, and it doesn't take that much, right? I think Danelle and David's biggest lesson was like, man, we don't even got to work that hard and we can make this kind of money. Out of everything they learned, I bet you that was one of their biggest things. Like, you know what? It didn't even take that much. It just took being really organized, tracking my numbers really good. And now I can grow it because I'm telling you, the only thing that taught them, right, is now like, man, we can track that. Does that mean we can make 40 grand in deposits next month? Because now you can see it, right? So what we're teaching today on the production call, you can't do, write this down, right? You can't do what you've been doing. So if you don't like last week's results, if you don't like last month's results, you need a change. You cannot do the same thing. If you don't like last year's results, right? And here's the cool part. You can go into your trackers, or should I say into Opt or even Quility HQ, depending where your leads were coming from. But you can look at the total lead investment that you spent last year. And you need to break it up into 12 months. And you need to, the thing you got to tell yourself is, hey, with blank lead investment, I made blank income. If you want to stay there, that's great. Invest in the same amount of leads. But if you don't, something has to change, right? You need to increase it somewhere, right? You got to know your numbers because you have to increase them. Then you have to look at your activity. What does my activity look like? What does my business look like? You need to track it, okay? What I suggest is by Saturday, this gives y'all 3 days, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. By Saturday, I'm telling y'all, you should get off this call if you ain't gonna listen to this right here. By Saturday, you should call your upline and schedule some time and say, hey, help me with my business plan for January. And keep it simple. Let's start with January. We want to help you get your goals done and your deposits. And you need to have those 3 things, right? What are your 3 goals? What's my commission raise? What's my promotion raise, all right, or promotion? And then what's my deposit goal? You are a business. You have to grow this. You got to know those numbers. You got to know December numbers. You got to know your January numbers so that you know what's possible. Here's the beauty. If you're part-time and you're only looking to make 2,000, we want to help you do that. Right? It's not that we won't, right? It's not the take over the world theory, right? It's tell us where you want to be and we can help you. But we can't mentor or help you if we don't know your goals. If you don't know your goals, right? You have to please spend some time and don't do it right now, right? You got to go dial, right? This is a business. Do it when you're done for the day. Invest an hour. What do you want to make in deposits? What is your raise goal? What is your commission, right? Or what's your level of leadership goal? And then break it down. It's not hard. What are your lead investments, right? Go start an SLO with your upline. But I promise you, you will be amazed of your results. And then just remember, give it time, right? It takes 4 to 6 weeks to grow this puppy, right? That's why I start with January. Know where you're going to end up by March. Why March is such a great date is because we'll be in CMAU, right? We'll be at conference. That'll be able to increase your goals and visions for your next quarter of the year, right? But you got to have these numbers tracked. It is insane of what's possible here if you track those numbers. Let's see. I'm just going over. I want to make sure I get everything for y'all. The other thing is, right, schedule that time. And then I would highly suggest daily you invest 10 to 15 minutes to reflect on your numbers, right? The thing is you have to get upset. You're not supposed to be happy. You're an entrepreneur. Let me tell you, you're supposed to hate your results a lot of times, right? Because if you loved your results, that means you were always winning. That doesn't happen, I promise you. Okay, that's a lie. If you thought that was true, I'm sorry, right? You're not always going to be winning. You always end up winning. Remember that. You're not always winning, but you always end up winning if you continue, right? If you just don't quit and have these things in front of you, I promise you, you always win. I love it when an agent calls us and they're like, man, I'm horrible. I'm like, well, you just had the best month you've ever had. Oh, wait a minute. They weren't even tracking their numbers to know that. And that happens so many times because you're just not tracking your numbers. You didn't even know you just had the best month ever, or the best week ever, or the best activity week ever, right? You were just focused on what you thought because you weren't tracking it. So you couldn't even know that you were winning. So January, I'm telling y'all, and James or Nate, and Danelle, y'all did such a great job these past couple of weeks with that. I mean, anything, questions that we can answer before we get off, right? Trackers, anything. Scrolling through here.
Go call your upline after this call. Make it happen.
Yep,
First step.
it is.
Yeah, and all I've been doing differently, really, these past couple months, it's really been tracking my business. It's crazy how you track and it just starts growing. And really haven't changed anything I've been doing. If anything, probably less, and you see the numbers grow, which is crazy. Because what you literally see it on paper, your vision is in there, you know what to expect, and you see it. So definitely, I mean, I'm a big believer on that as well. So definitely track it. It just makes a difference, and you know what to expect, and it helps out a lot.
Yep. Please don't operate your business as of today without trackers, right? At least activity and deposits and expenses. You are a real business. You are not supposed to lose money. Okay. We made a promise when we hired y'all, right? That, hey, you can be profitable here. I just can't make you be profitable, right? Like, I can help you be profitable. Listen to that term. We can help you be profitable. We can't make you profitable. That is on your shoulders because you are an entrepreneur. You own your business here, right? And let me tell you, money is insane, right? You just got to take this really serious and treat this like a business, because I promise you, there is nothing like that. I've never seen anything like this in my life. So please reach out to your upline, start your standing lead orders with them. Don't do it by yourself, right? I don't want other AOs calling me and saying, right, this is recorded, so y'all can't lie, right? Be like, hey, what Joe said on the production call to go start a standing. No, I said get with your upline, right? Any leads, before you buy leads, you should always talk to your upline, right? And then just track your numbers, have an activity tracker, deposit numbers, and then a goal, right, in deposits. And I promise you, results will become insane if you take this super seriously. So thanks for being on here, Miss Amber.